pieces of you buried in the flashbacks. All these wicked nightmares has gone cold. Now we go way, way back, as far as way back goes. Still standing by your side. You know I'll be right here when all the monsters come. Oh, I've got you. You grew old in suburbia, where pretty demons never show, shifting shapes in millennia. But you're okay. I don't have the pieces of you buried in the flashbacks. All these wicked nightmares has gone cold. Now we go way, way back, as far as way back goes. Still standing by your side. You know I'll be right here when all the monsters come. Oh, I've got you. I've got you. Now we go way, way back, as far as way back goes. Still standing by your side. You know I'll be right here when all the monsters come. Oh, I've got you.
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome to a new reading vlog. So today's reading vlog is going to be all about Daisy Haites, The Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. So this vlog is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't read the previous 3 books in the series, I'm going to be talking spoilers about those books as well. So if you haven't read those, please do not watch this. Please go read them. You will not regret it. So if you didn't know, Daisy Haites, The Great Undoing is the second Daisy Haites book, but the 4th book in the Magnolia Parks universe. So you do need to read them, in my opinion. You need to read them all like in order. So first book is Magnolia Parks. Oh, amazing. One of my favorite books of all time. Honestly, all of these are favorite books of all time, but this one is very, very special to me. I just love it so, so much. I was hooked from the first page, but yes, book 1. Then book 2 is Daisy Haites. So this is the first Daisy Haites book. It is following the same timeline as Magnolia Parks, but we are getting different characters' points of view. So we mainly follow Daisy Haites, we follow her brother Julian Haites, and then we also follow Christian, who is part of the full box set. So this is book 2 in the Magnolia Parks series, but the first book in the Daisy Haites points of view. Then the third book is Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home. So this is following about a year after the events of Magnolia Parks. So we're back following Magnolia and BJ. And then the fourth book is Daisy Haites The Great Undoing. So this is following the same timeline as The Long Way Home, but again, we are following Daisy, Julian, and Christian. So if you haven't watched my reading vlog for the first 3 books, I have a reading vlog for each of them, which I will leave linked down below if you are interested in seeing my thoughts on all of those. There's lots of crying and then also lots of gushing about these books because I became so seriously attached to these characters. I annotated and tabbed the absolute crap out of this series. So if you haven't read it yet, or if you haven't seen those vlogs, please go do that and then come back here so that we can talk about Daisy Haites The Great Undoing. First of all, can we just have this moment where, look at them. Just look at how beautiful. I will be talking spoilers about this book as I read it, so as they come up. So again, please do not watch this if you haven't read this book yet. I am both excited and extremely nervous to start this. I'm speechless. Can we take a moment to appreciate the cover? The back cover. This quote is gonna kill me, but the daisies. And I just absolutely love how Jessa and the artist who does like the cover art includes all of these little hints and like little Easter eggs to the series and like to the book. Like there's a gun at the dinner table, there's a tiger, there's pancakes. Obviously there's a daisy, there's a little thing that says Magnolia Parks was here. So yes, I am very excited to get to this. I have set up my tabbing system and I've done my little like sticker decorating. It's a little bit different from what I showed you because after I like stopped the camera, I added a few more stickers. But I've got my tabbing system ready to go. And I've got my little annotation pencil case here that I've used for the series because like bees, come on. So I've got all of my like little emoji stickers that I've used for the whole series. I've got my tabs, and then I've got a bunch of my favorite mild liner highlighters that I will be using. I have a lot of highlighters. I'm actually gonna like go through and like pare down, I think to like maybe four highlighter colors. I don't need to have 10, but yes, this has been quite the intro. I am ready to go and start this book now, so I'm gonna be done talking. I'm gonna go start this. Please wish me luck. just wanted to pop in and film a quick update because I am 113 pages in to Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, and obviously I'm loving it. I know I've said this in every single vlog where I've read one of these books and anytime that I talk about these books, but Jessa's writing is just like next level. It's so good. It's literally perfect to me. Like, the way that she writes and like makes me feel attached to the characters and like the characters' inner dialogue, it's just everything. It's just everything to me. So I just really love it. It was weird for me. Like, I don't know why, because I knew this going into it, but it was weird for me to take that step back in time after reading Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, to have to go back in time and like see Magnolia and BJ not together. It just like that first scene where they're like not together and like BJ is with Jordan, I was like, wait. And then I was like, no, I knew that going in, that this was not like going to like sequentially follow the timeline. Like, we were going back and getting these characters' points of view. So I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. I just had to like readjust for some reason. So yeah, Daisy is with Tiller right now. So the cop, which it's like one of those situations again, like when Magnolia was with Tom, or even when Magnolia was with Julian, where I like the guy that she's with. Like, I like Tiller, but he's not the guy, right? He's not the guy. So I like him, but he's not the guy. I want Daisy and Christian to figure it out and be together. Christian obviously is still clearly in love with Daisy. He's never stopped loving Daisy, and he's made several like statements to that fact of like he never stopped loving her. He's obviously still in love with her, and he's like with Vanna, or whatever her name is, Vanna Ripley. And I think it's hilarious that everybody hates her and he just like keeps her around because he knows that like he's not gonna find somebody else. So he's like being with Vanna just because like basically he's like killing time. Daisy is trying to live her normal life and be with like this normal guy, a cop, and she's getting these like flowers delivered or whatever. And at first I was like, immediately I'm like, oh, that's Christian. And then when it's like when she got like the daisies or something in her work locker, and she was like, this feels like very ominous, and I was like, oh, this is not actually, I don't think it's Christian anymore. Like, it's definitely something like more sinister. And then clearly we had the scene where she almost gets like kidnapped, and she's such a badass. Like, she didn't need anybody to save her there. She freaking like got the knife out of her boot and just stabbed the guy that was taking her. Like, I also forgot how much more action-packed Daisy Hates like book is compared to Magnolia's book. Magnolia's books are very like emotionally charged, and Daisy's are as well, but like there's like action to it. We haven't gotten a ton of scenes with Daisy and Christian together yet. We had the flashback of when Julian was shot, and that was, I knew he was going to be okay, but it was still like emotional to read about because Daisy didn't know he was going to be okay, and to like be in her point of view as she's watching her brother like nearly bleed out, and like her like inner dialogue when that's happening. Oh my god, got me right in the feels. And then like her and Christian had a moment there. Now I just read the scene where Tiller cancels like on Daisy to take her to this like art museum, and she's pretty upset about it, but Christian is there to save the day, and he is like, I'll just take you. So they go to this art museum together, and it's just really cute, and I really do love Christian. Like, there's that moment where she's staring at one of the paintings there, I don't even know which one, and she's just saying like, this one is about 500 years old. And she says, I love this one. And he says, me too, I say, staring at her. She glances over at me and our eyes catch, and my cheeks go hot. So then I look quickly at the painting. Same. I nod coolly. And it's like, he still loves her. And like all of the times when Daisy says like the things that she says, where she's like, I have to like put him in a box because I can't be in love with him, or she's like obviously still in love with him and just telling herself like she shouldn't be. But there's also that scene where she's like, you smell different, and he's like, I don't know what you mean. And she said, you normally smell like a certain type of cologne. And he's like, yeah, well, Magnolia bought that for me, and I wore it because I wanted her to like me more. And Daisy's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, I stopped wearing it because I don't care about her liking me anymore. And he says like he's wearing this different kind of cologne, and she's like, okay, why? And he says, just reminds me of something I love. You know he means her. But yeah, Daisy and Tiller right now, they're still together, but they're like kind of realizing that their relationship has an expiration date on it because they've had to move back to be with Julian, and I didn't even talk about that. He's had to apologize because of the awful, awful things that he said to her in the last book. So, but yeah, they're living with him, and obviously Tiller is a cop, so he's like fighting with this like need to follow the law, and he's living with a bunch of criminals. And so you just know, like, they're just not built to last. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I just wanted to check in and let you know that I did pass the 100-page mark. I'll probably do a check-in at least once every 100 pages or so, maybe even like more if more things like happen. But it's just really nice to be back in this world with these characters again, and to even like see the box set, and just to get these characters' points of view when I was lacking that in The Long Way Home. I really wanted to know what was going on with Daisy and Christian and Julian. So I'm happy to be back here, and I'm just living my best life. So I'm gonna go continue reading for the night. I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to get read. Maybe I'll get to page 150. I will just check in with you all tomorrow.
I will get close to your heartache if you won't open your door. I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest. I can see it in your eyes that you're shaking 'cause you're holding it back. Maybe you'll make up your mind now. I'm here by your side. So let it all out of me. Let it all out of me.
Hello, it is the next day, and I've made it a bit farther into The Great Undoing. So I'm on page 235 now. So I believe I'm past the halfway mark now. And my oh my, do we have a lot to talk about? Okay, so first things first, I spoke too soon about Tiller. I said at the beginning like how I liked him, and I was like, obviously I'm rooting for Christian. Like, Daisy and Christian belong together. That is my ship, that is my end game, okay? But I liked Tiller. I liked him in the first Daisy Hates book, and I liked him at the beginning of this, but he quickly becomes very irritating and like disappointing, really. So as soon as Daisy gets like nearly kidnapped and they have to tell Julian, and she moves back into like the compound back with Julian, Tiller obviously moves with her because they live together, and he clearly, because he is a cop, is struggling with having to live in a household full of criminals. And he's like really annoying about it though. Like, I'm not sure what you expected when you dated the sister of like one of the criminals that you're investigating. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? But yeah, he's like annoyed that he actually like likes it there and likes Julian. So he kind of like takes it out on Daisy a little bit, and like kind of shames her and makes her feel bad for how she was like raised and like what her beliefs are, and that they're not as black and white as what his beliefs are. And he just really annoys me. And then like the fact that he would always lie to her and be like, yeah, I gotta work, when he clearly didn't. He was just trying to look for like a way to get out of like hanging out with her, like being around the house. And then he'd tell her like, oh, I'm working late, and then he'd go out for drinks with like all of his cop buddies and stuff. It's just irritating because it's like, what did you expect? I don't like, you have to kind of know going into it that it's not going to be black and white like that. Like, who are you dating? Like, literally, what were you thinking? Like, if this was going to be such an issue with you, I don't know. So he got really annoying. And then, of course, his stupid ex, Michelle, was being like jealous and petty and catty about everything. And so she basically like badmouthed Daisy, and she overheard. And then Daisy was like, that's it. Tiller didn't stand up for me. He literally just looks at me and thinks of me as like a criminal. So I'm just going to be done with him. He's not for me. We're were calling time on this relationship because they kind of knew ever since they moved back in with Julian that their relationship had an expiration date on it, but they just kept saying, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. And that breakup scene was iconic, honestly. I just freaking love Daisy. First of all, she kisses Christian, which she's been wanting to do this whole book, and Christian's been wanting to do this whole book, and when it finally happened, oh, this quote, "This stupid floaty feeling, like how those NASA pictures look of the galaxies with the space dust all pink and purple and stars and planets, that's kissing Christian Hems." Oh, that's such a good quote. Ugh, and then she's obviously like in this cop bar, freaking draws a gun on Tiller and is like, you are shit, like you never stood up for me. She's just such a badass, and I just love how like snarky and sarcastic she is. She's just, I just love Daisy. So yeah, the part that I just read was right after that scene of them, like Daisy and Tiller breaking up, and then Christian is like, okay, he broke up with this Vanna girl or whatever, and Daisy's like, I want to be with you now, like kiss me, come inside or whatever, and he's like, no, I shouldn't. And she's like, what are you talking about? We've been pining after each other this whole time. And he's like, you literally just broke up with your boyfriend, like I want to give you time to get over that because he doesn't want to mess it up. And she's like having a little bit of a fit about it because she's like, you only want me when you can't have me or whatever. And he's like, actually no, fuck it. And then he kisses her. I am like a sucker for the like fuck it and then they kiss. Like, you just throw caution to the wind, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done trying to resist this, and then he just grabs her and kisses her. That is like my kryptonite in books. Like, oh my god, I fell so hard for Christian then. I move past him, hope he can't tell how crushed I am as I do, and our shoulders brush, and then he says, actually no, fuck it. He grabs me by the waist and bangs me backwards into his car, pressing his mouth up against mine in the perfect rushy way. He kisses me for what feels like ages, a new age or an old one. If me and Tiller were the Titanic, Christian is New York City on the horizon. Come on! I know it's all gonna go to shit soon. I know that because we're only halfway through the book and nothing is ever happy. So I know that it's gonna go to shit soon, but right now it's good. Let's see, what else? Oh, Magnolia and Julian, they're in the midst of their little relationship, even though Julian is adamant that it is not a relationship. There is no we, but it's very clear that he is in denial, that he is like falling really hard for her, and that just breaks my heart because like there's no one but BJ. Like there's no one else. But I want Julian to be happy. I wanted to stay mad at him after what he did in the first Daisy Haites book and like the things that he said to Daisy. I wanted to be mad at him in this book, but I can't. I mean, still crappy that he said those things and like did what he did, kidnapping those kids, but I just can't be mad at him. He's so charismatic. But yeah, reading about him like pining for Magnolia and like how like he's actually falling for her, and he's like, why am I having these feelings? Like it's not gonna go anywhere or whatever. And he knows that she's in love with BJ, and like that's gonna be what it is. Like there's not gonna be anything more for them. I just want him to be happy. I do want him to be happy. I know how it's all gonna go down, but I want Julian to be happy. There was a scene with Magnolia and Daisy. So Daisy obviously hates Magnolia because of all of the stuff with Christian, and she's like resentful of that. And she's so annoyed with Magnolia, but Magnolia's Magnolia. And so they like have this cute moment where they like get drunk off of wine and Magnolia braids Daisy's hair and stuff. And it's, I just want them to be best friends. They'd be so cute. Oh, the New Year's scene with Christian and Daisy, where he's like, what are we gonna do at midnight? And she's like, nothing. And he's like, well, we gotta ring in the new year. And she's like, I'll rest my head on your shoulder. And then she does. And then he rests his head on her head. Oh, Magnolia. I don't know that it was hinted at in The Long Way Home or not. I'm not quite sure, but it appears that Magnolia has an eating disorder because like Christian catches that. Let me find where that was. It was like right after that moment with Magnolia and Daisy, and she gets really drunk and Christian's like, have you eaten today? And she's like, yeah, no, totally I have. And he doesn't believe it. And she just kind of lies to him. And so Christian and Daisy kind of piece it together that she's not eating. And he just says, she goes like this sometimes when she feels, and then he trails off, gives a quick smile. Don't worry about it. I'll keep an eye on it. So, yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting seeing these scenes from these characters' points of view, because like I was wondering what their thoughts were, like what was going through their head when these scenes were happening in The Long Way Home, specifically the scene with Julian like in the club with Magnolia when she goes to talk to BJ, or like BJ says something and they like him and Julian are gonna get in a fight or whatever, and she's like, no, not anytime in this world, or whatever she said, and then he like goes away and then finds a different girl, and she like stomps up to him in the club and is like, when I'm here, I'm all you see, and like does this whole like sassy thing. I was so curious to know what his like thoughts were during that, so it was really interesting to read that, because he's got it bad for her. It's also just really fun seeing Daisy's point of view about Magnolia, because she's still like so reluctant to like Magnolia and just like absolutely finds her annoying. I just find it really funny because like I love Magnolia and I love Daisy and I just want them to be friends, and like this little like it's gonna be like a hate to love, like a grumpy sunshine friendship. Oh my god, I didn't even talk about this yet. The scene on page 168, Christian, where she says, what am I to you? And he says, oh, I don't know, like just everything. He like reaches and pushes a piece of her hair behind her ears, and she's like, what are you doing? He says, sorry, you're just so beautiful it hurts. She says, you can't say that to me. And he says, I'll say shit like that to you forever if you'll let me. Oh my god. And then Christian says, I love her. That's it for me. That's all there is. I love her. Oh my god. I love them. Yeah, so I am about halfway. I'm going to read a bit more tomorrow. I don't think I'll be able to finish it tomorrow. It's New Year's Eve tomorrow, and I'm going to be going by my friend Maggie, and we're going to play some games and ring in the new year. So I'll probably read, I don't know, I'll try to read like 75 to 100 pages tomorrow before I go over there, and then I'll finish this on New Year's Day. So I will check in with you all tomorrow. Okay, hello. It is New Year's Day. Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy 2023. I am planning on finishing this today, so I just wanted to pop in because I've read a bit more. I've read about, I don't even know. I think I've read only like 50 pages maybe, but I'm on page 287 now, and we're in like the happy days right now, and so I just want to talk about this before things get inevitably ruined somehow. So last update that I did was Daisy and Christian like getting together, where he said like fuck it, and then they got together, which I just love that. I love that scene. But like the literal next chapter is the scene where Christian and Magnolia run into each other at the Haites' house. And so that scene is literally so hilarious because like they literally bicker like siblings, and I love them because just like their friendship now is just like really cute. But it's it made me laugh so much, like the scene between Christian and Magnolia where they're just like arguing, and then like he like ugh, and shoves her away, and she's like, I didn't care for that, Christian. It's just so funny. But yeah, so Christian and Daisy are like kind of back together, but they haven't like talked about it at all. They're just like hooking up, and clearly they both still love each other. Oh, there's this adorable quote on page 250 where it's Henry and BJ and like it's all the boys from the full box set talking, and Henry says, yeah, but it's not just a girl. He tosses me a look. It's Daisy, who is a girl, BJ tells him gently. Henry shakes his head. Not to him. I just love that. I love how Henry just like, he just knows. Henry gets it. There is some stuff going on with Magnolia and Julian. So they had that scene where the lights went out at the restaurant, and Julian has like a PTSD episode where he I mean, kind of rightfully so, like feels like scared that something is going to happen because of like the line of work that he's in and like all the stuff that he's seen. So the lights go out and he instantly like drops to protect Magnolia and make sure that she's okay. And then he's like kind of terrified that he thought like if there was a threat to his life that something would happen to her, and so he's like scared of that, but also very scared of his feelings for her because he's clearly in love with her, even though he's been trying to deny it and trying to tell himself that it's just like super casual, even though we all know it's not. But he ends up breaking up with her, and that scene, I remember reading it in The Long Way Home, where he just like drops her off at her house and drives away, and she's just like standing there feeling all rejected. That scene from Julian's point of view, I wanted to give them both a hug. Like, I'm not rooting for them. I don't want them to be together. I clearly am a BJ Valentine stan. So Magnolia and BJ, it's only ever Magnolia and BJ. Like, that's all it is. But I want Julian to be happy, and like, he's so in love with her. And I just know that he's gonna be hurt by it. Like, he's already hurt by it, but I just want him to be happy. So anyways, they have that scene where she like stops him from getting into a fight, and then they kind of get back together, but he's still like, we're not together, there's no feelings, even though he in his head now is acknowledging that he's in love with her. But yeah, I just know he's gonna get hurt. But he has a quote on page 273 that he says, and I know what that means. She's climbed over the wall and into my fucking heart somehow, but it's fine because I know what I am to her. I'm the buoy she's clinging to while she waits for the ship she fell off to come back and get her. Then we have the last scene that I just read that I really want to talk about, which is the scene where Daisy and Christian finally tell each other that they love each other, and it's all because of Magnolia. So Christian and Daisy walk in on Magnolia and Julian like half naked, and they have this like kind of awkward but also kind of like wholesome moment together, the four of them. And then Magnolia basically like says, you shouldn't be having casual sex with each other because you're both clearly in love with each other. She doesn't word it that way exactly, but she basically says like Christian has some very strong affectionate feelings for you. And Daisy's like, how could you possibly know that? Like, there's no way. And Christian's like, excuse me, what? I literally told you you're everything to me. And he's like, how do you not know how I feel about you? And she's like, well, you're not very clear. And he says, let me be clear now then, Daisy. I am fucked up in love with you. I've never stopped loving you since the second I realized I did. And I admit it took me too long to know it, but I know it now and I can't unknow it. I don't want to unknow it. I want to be with you. And then he just like goes off about like, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, I just want to be with you. It's so cute. And then Magnolia, because her and Julian are still standing there watching this all play out. And she's like, perhaps you should start by kissing her. And then the footnote for that is just, damn it, now I love her. And I circled that because I've been waiting for this moment where Daisy finally warms up to Magnolia. And then on the next page, after Julian and Magnolia leave, Christian and Daisy are kind of like laughing about it. And Christian says, she's so annoying. And Daisy says, I breathe out, concede with a little shrug. She's kind of grown on me. And then this footnote is, don't tell her. And I just put besties because I've been waiting. But then Christian says, I love you. And then Daisy says, I love you back. And they just have this like really cute, very sweet moment. And I just love them. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I just wanted to talk while I'm still like very happy, because if I know anything about Jessa, she's gonna break my heart in this last little bit here. So just trying to put my armor on and get ready for that. So I'm gonna go continue reading. I will probably check back in right before I get like to the ending bits. Okay, so let's go keep reading. Okay, I'm on page 300 now, and I just read chapter 43, which is in Daisy's point of view, and she's talking about this memory of when she was a little kid and her mom left her to go shopping and like left her with this random gardener, and how the gardener was like molesting her and she went and hid. And God, what a shitty parent. Like, I hated her mom in the first Daisy Hates book because she's just like so cold with Daisy, and I just can't like understand how you could treat a kid that way, let alone your own child. I'm literally glad that her mom is dead. But yeah, there's that scene where like Daisy's dad like shoots the gardener and then holds the gun to her mom's head, and I wish he would have just killed her then. Like, anyways, then Magnolia comes in like to the present timeline and asks Daisy if she's okay, and Daisy like tells her about having that like bad memory and talks to her about it and stuff. And Daisy's saying like how she feels like it's her fault, like her mom always blamed her for everything, but she feels like it's her fault that her mom died because her dad like ran to protect Daisy instead of the mom. And then Magnolia tells her about how her and BJ had a baby that they lost, and Magnolia says this line of like, sometimes if I were to listen to the wrong parts of my mind, it can feel like I did, because she thinks that it's her fault that Billy died. But they just have like this really sweet moment together where they kind of open up a bit, and I don't know, I just wanted to mention that scene because it's really sad, and I just like that they opened up to each other, and I feel like it's going to be a really big turning point for Magnolia and Daisy. Okay, I'm gonna do a little update again before I finish this. I'm on page 371, so I'm like almost done with it. I've got 60 pages left maybe. What was the last thing I talked about? Oh, Magnolia and Daisy. Yeah, so since then we find out that one of the like criminals that Daisy has like an absolute no-fly zone with is actually a relative and is her aunt, and Daisy has no idea. And they basically make a not so subtle threat to Magnolia, or like about Magnolia to Julian. And so Julian's like, I need to pretend like she means nothing to me so that they don't think that they can get to me through her. And so Magnolia's in danger, and Julian, obviously, because he's like so in love with her, ends up like breaking her heart and breaking up with her because he cheats on her with some random girl in a club, and him and BJ get into that fight. So now they're not together, and that, I'm not gonna lie, like that is so sad. Like, I don't want them to be together. I want Magnolia and BJ to be together, and they are like in a spot now where they can be, but I want Julian to be happy. I don't want him to be sad. And he's like absolutely crushed by this, and I'm sad about it. Then we get the title drop quote, The Great Undoing. So this is Julian's perspective on page 343. He says, "Fuck, I hate loving her. It's the great undoing of my heart as I know it. A face I'd win battles for, a face I'd lose everything for, even her. It's time. I love her more than I've ever loved anything, and I thought I might have been able to angle it, find a way for us to work, a life between where I can be who I am and love her how I do, and it not be the death of her. But it's not in the cards. I'd be the death of her, and I won't be. So it's time." Julian. Then we have the Christian Vanna Ripley sex tape that goes on the internet, and Daisy is obviously very upset by that, but I'm very frustrated with her right now because of what she does here. So like, I can't imagine having to watch something like that. Like, she didn't have to watch it. She should not have watched it. Obviously that's heartbreaking in itself, but she goes to talk to Christian, and he's like, doesn't make a big deal out of it. Like, he's like, this was like before we got back together. I was trying to get over you because I'm still in love with you, and like, obviously I slept with like somebody else at this time. You were sleeping with somebody else at the time. So he like doesn't see it as a big deal because he's like, it means nothing. And Daisy thinks it's a very big deal, and ends up sending Christian pictures of her like with Romeo and with Tiller. And obviously Christian is like hurt by that, and now they're just like in this big fight. So I'm just like frustrated because like, it's not Christian's fault that it went on the internet. I'm pretty positive it was Vanna, if I'm remembering correctly. And like, this was months and months ago, before they got back together, before they had like all this, like all the I love yous between them. And I don't know. It's not that she's overreacting. I just don't like how that like conversation went down between the two of them. So yeah, now they're in a fight. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this right now. I don't know if I'll check in like before the ending. I'll probably at least film my reaction of reading the ending. But like, I know that like the accident, like the car accident, is gonna happen. So I don't know if I'm ready for this ending, but here we go, I guess.
You're like a ghost in my mind. I can't escape you. I need to believe it was right letting you go, 'cause 'cause you are like a ghost in my mind. I wanna escape you, but I do not believe it was right letting you go. I can't stand the thought of losing you. Tell me, do you think of me too? 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it kills me. No, it was a mistake letting you go. 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it breaks my heart. You're still here, though we're apart. I'm seeing your face in my dreams. I can't escape you. Like a movie on repeat, the scenes just go on. I'm hearing your voice in my dreams. I wanna escape you. I really think I made a big mistake. I want you to know I can't stand the thought of losing you. Tell me, do you think of me too? 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it kills me. No, it was a mistake letting you go. 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it breaks my heart. You're still here, though we're apart. Don't tell me it's over now. Don't tell me it's over now. Don't tell me it's over now. Don't tell me it's over. 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it kills me. No, it was a mistake letting you go. 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it kills me. No, it was a mistake letting you go. 'Cause every song just reminds me of you, and it breaks my heart. You're still here, though we're apart.
I finished. I think the last update was Daisy and Christian getting in the fight about the sex tape, and like he goes over by her and she's laying in her bed with Romeo, even though they're not doing anything. Like they just have like this weird relationship, and that makes Christian mad and jealous, and so they have this fight. And then Magnolia comes and like helps out Daisy and brings her back, and Daisy and Christian then like make up, and Magnolia takes it into her hands about handling the sex tape situation because they find out that it was Vanna. And yeah, just Magnolia being Magnolia. Then we have the intense scenes to end the book out. So we have Christian's mom getting attacked in their own home and like bludgeoned with a wine bottle, and she's in a coma. Then we have the scene where Christian tells Daisy that he is like willing to get out of this life. He's gonna do whatever she wants. He just wants to be with her. Christian says, "Mom used to say to me, when you pick who you want to be with, you have to imagine every part of life, every scenario, good, bad, happy, sad, painful, beautiful. Not just the person you want to do road trips with, but the person you want to be stuck in gridlock traffic with. Not just the person you want to have babies with, but the person you want to grieve with. The person you want next to you on the worst day of your life, at the funeral of someone you love. Who's next to you? Who do you go home to? You don't need a fair weather lover. You need the person who's going to stand next to you in their wellies, staring down the barrel of the storm." And so he says, "I'm in, Days. I want out of this. I want you, so I'm in. Wherever you want to go, I'm there. Let's do it." And he says, "I don't care where we go, Days. It doesn't matter to me. Us together. That's the part that matters from now on." And then Julian gets the vase of magnolias and realizes that Magnolia's in trouble, and we have the accident, which wasn't confirmed in The Long Way Home that the accident was caused because of her connection to Julian, but this was confirmed that the people who are like out to get Julian are the ones responsible for that. And again, that scene from his point of view is so heartbreaking, because he says, have you ever seen the person you love be hit by a car just because they love you? Love is wild, isn't it? It makes a life so much more valuable, not just to me, but to my enemies. No one was trying to kill Magnolia Parks until I loved her. And he basically just sees her get in, like, he has to watch this wreck, basically. He's trying to help her and save her, but he gets there, like, just as it's happening, and all he sees is, like, her get hit by these cars, and her car is flipped, and he doesn't know if she's okay, and they still, like, they have to go, they have to find Daisy, and then they're leaving. And so then we get the scene of Romeo and Miguel coming to, like, take Daisy away because they're gonna flee the country. And so we see her basically get taken by them, and then we see Christian's reaction to that, where he's like pounding on the glass. And then Daisy has her own great undoing quote where she says, I love him, he's all I want, he's all I think about, everything I didn't want or believe about love, I want and believe in it with him, and loving him has undone me wide open. And then there's that scene with Christian and Jonah, where Jonah like tells him like they have to flee the country, and Christian just goes like absolutely berserk and like pulls a gun on him, and he's like, tell me where they're taking her. His dad kind of like talks him down a little bit, and then he starts crying. He says, cry like I never have before in my life, because I'm afraid of all of it, of what it means, of where she's going, how long she'll be gone, and what I'll look like without her. How can I have lost her again when I've just gotten her back? And then the final chapter with Daisy, where she sees Julian, and they're like, yeah, they had to sedate him, and she finally finds out about Magnolia being in the accident, and she asks, where are we going? And he says, away. So that's how it ends. Like, obviously we know Magnolia is okay, but at this point in time, nobody knows that she's okay. And then Julian and Daisy are now like fleeing the country and going into hiding, so we don't know what's gonna happen with them. The emotional roller coasters that these books put me through, I swear. I don't want to have to wait. I know the next Magnolia Parks book is like planned to come out next year, I think in the summer, I hope. And then the next Daisy Haites book is also supposed to come out this year, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. Obviously, 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like that should almost go without saying at this point, but what a emotional roller coaster. So yeah, that is Daisy Haites The Great Undoing. I am gonna have to sit and think about this book for a good long while. I'm gonna go put it on my shelf now to have the spines facing out. Yeah, Jessa, if you're watching this, I love you. I love your books. I love your characters. Please don't hurt my heart anymore, please. If you made it to the end of this video, let's leave some emojis here. Let's leave the Daisy. I mean, it's like a yellow Daisy. I wish there was a white Daisy, but leave the Daisy, obviously. Leave the tiger. I feel like there's not a gun emoji anymore. I think there's just a squirt gun emoji, the little green gun. Leave that down in the comments down below to let me know that you made it to the end of this video. And thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all in my next one. Bye.